everybody. I'm Kim from Perfectly Imperfect Hatha Yoga with Kim. I would like to lead you through a little practice. So here we are, we're going to begin sitting up nice and tall. I like to bring a little blanket or a cushion, something to sit up nice and tall on, just to give my sits bones a little bit of cushion there. And from here we're going to rise up through the heart space, dropping the shoulders down and away. Lifting up through the waistline, up through the pelvic floor. Maybe we slightly tuck the chin, just ever so slightly, creating that double chin effect. And we allow the crown of the head to shine towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to stack the head over the heart and the heart over the pelvis, finding our foundation, our alignment, and now our breath. And just by simply bringing your attention to your breath, notice if anything begins to change. Can you notice your breath going down and filling that belly full of air? Like it's a big balloon. And when you exhale, can you notice your shoulders dropping further away from the ears? Perhaps you close your eyes or find a nice gentle gaze. And we just be for just a second. You place the have-tos and the have-nots, the what-ifs and the what-fors, all on hold as we come to stillness, as we come to just be. Sitting up tall and still can be more challenging than perhaps even trying to attempt a headstand or a crow pose, but there is value in this practice. Learning to sit up tall and still can actually lead to being able to do those challenging things if you choose to do so with more ease, as you learn to adapt to change. So if my low back is beginning to get fussy or my lumbar spine, I'm going to just bring my belly button to spine a little bit more. This is going to allow my heart space to shine up just ever so slightly, and maybe I can drop my shoulders a little bit more. Maybe I'd like to slide my hands back on my lap just a little bit, just to emphasize this, getting some weight in the elbows. And we breathe. And we notice it's working, I'm getting relaxed here. As we tap into those accessory muscles, those accessory things to help us, support us along the way, making those more challenging things a little bit more easy. That sukha, that ease. The sukhasana pose suggests ease or an easiness, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the posture is easy and that doing this process is easy, but it challenges us to find the ease when the things are not so easy, maybe more dukkha rather the unease. And if you're wondering what's going to happen next and you're getting a little antsy, no worries. I find the more tired I am or the more agitated I am, the harder it is to come to stillness, so just try. And if your toes are wiggling, because sometimes I find when I'm anxious or nervous or tired that happens, just acknowledge it. There's no right or wrong here. And that's what's really drawn me to yoga, knowing that there is no right or wrong. It's finding what feels good, and it's having the conversation with the body. That these postures, these asanas, are just merely accessories to the practice as well. Yoga is very much just tapping into the inner self in search of self-enlightenment. So no pressure here, just be, let what is be, and move on. Then maybe you close the eyes still. And maybe just now you're starting to really tap into the moment. Good for you. You're doing great. Breathe in. Excellent. From here, we're going to bring the fingertips just to the sides of our mat here. And then we're going to breathe in, lifting the shoulders up to the ears. And then we'll exhale, looping the shoulders back and down, allowing them to come down and away from the ears with our exhale. As if we're like pinching something in between our shoulder blades, maybe a pencil or a straw between the shoulder blades at the back. And then from here, we're going to spread the fingers nice and wide, all 10 fingers if you can. And if not, no worries, do what you can. We're going to breathe in, sending the fingertips up towards the sky. Maybe we send our gaze towards the thumbs. We breathe in. And then we wiggle the fingers and we exhale, sending the fingertips back down to our sides. And we exhale, finding a flow here, breathing in to look up, sending the fingertips up. And exhale, wiggle the fingertips down. Linking breath with movement. Movement with breath, believe it or not, this is a vinyasa. And if you're familiar with vinyasa, you might think of doing sun salutations, going from planks to downward dogs, to tadasana, and etc. However, this is also a vinyasa, linking breath to movement and movement to breath. And here we go. We'll do one more. Send the fingertips up, really lengthen up through the side body here, coming up and out of the waistline, not collapsing and relaxing in the spine, but lifting and lengthening, strengthening and lengthening. We breathe in. And as we exhale, we're going to take the fingertips towards the right side, bringing the left hand to the right thigh, sending the right hand behind. You lift up and out of the chest. We breathe in, nice, full, conscious breath. And as we exhale, we bring the belly button to spine, maybe a little bit more, and then that was what takes us into our twist. We're not going to force anything or hurt ourselves, but rather just come at it with an ease, that sukha. And maybe we look past the shoulder with an exhale, maybe not. If my neck is fussy, I'm going to listen. Having that conversation with the body and listening. And then we'll come back to center. We'll send the fingertips to the sides again. We'll breathe in, up and out of the waistline. Breathe in. And then we'll exhale towards the left this time. Bringing the right hand to the left leg. We'll send the left hand behind. We'll lengthen and we'll strengthen. We'll breathe in. And we'll exhale. Maybe we twist a little bit more, bringing that belly button to spine. Listening to the body. Our breath will let us know if we're doing too much and if we need to back off. So if my breath is becoming restricted, it's hard to send it all the way down, then I'm just going to back up a little bit. No judgments. And I find we are our own worst critics, myself included. So practicing this grace towards yourself is something to be thankful for as well. Something to practice. Then we come back to center. We're going to tuck that chin just like we did before, just ever so slightly, making that double chin effect. Yay, double chin effect going on social media. Don't we love that? No worries. And then we're going to bring the right ear over the right shoulder, or same ear over same shoulder. It doesn't really matter if it's your right necessarily. And we'll send the left fingertips out if that feels good. If this is much too much, I'm just going to keep my hands on my lap. No worries. Otherwise, I'll send my fingertips out to the side, and I'm tucking the chin and bringing ear over shoulder, and I'm breathing, filling the belly full of air. And maybe I have my eyes closed or a nice gentle gaze. Really breathing into the posture. And if I want a little more, maybe I lift the left hand, pointing the fingers towards the face of the hand that is out to the side. I point them towards the face if I can. And if I want a little bit more, then I'll swim my right hand up towards my left ear, nice and gentle, like a little butterfly kiss. And we push away as if we're pushing into an imaginary wall, and we just slightly lengthen through the neck. We're not pushing or forcing, but allowing gravity to do its job. And if this is much too much, then I just have my ear over my shoulder, my hands are on my lap. Finding what feels good for ourselves. Everybody and every body are unique, and therefore everybody and every body move uniquely. And we come back through center with our exhale. Great job. We'll bring those shoulders up to the ears as we breathe in. We'll send them back and down. And we'll do that 2 more times. Bring the shoulders up to the ears, breathe in. Send them back and down with our exhale. And 1 more time, make it count. Back and down. Great job. All right, let's find that double chin effect and send the ear over the same shoulder. So if you did the right side last time, do the left. If you did the left, do the right. No judgments here. So we're going to have the hands on the lap, just getting a nice gentle stretch here in the right side, behind the ear to the trap there. Or we're going to send those right fingertips out, getting a nice generous stretch. Oh, yep, definitely noticing how each side might be very different. And if this is much too much, my breath will tell me. If my breath becomes restricted, then I need to just back up. Just getting a nice gentle stretch, not forcing or pushing, but rather noticing and nurturing as we pause and we ponder. And maybe I want a little bit more, and I lift the right hand up first, pushing away, almost as if I'm pushing into an imaginary wall, and then I might swim the left fingertips up to kiss the right ear. And I'm getting nice and relaxed here. It's working, wonderful. Breathe in. And exhale, having that conversation with ourselves, noticing what feels good in our own bodies. And if that means you're not exactly doing what I'm doing, that's okay. You're listening to yourself, and for that, I commend you. And we'll come back to center with our exhale. We'll bring the hands back to the lap, and we're going to send that heart space forward. So we're kind of thinking cat-cow here, if you're familiar. We'll send the chest forward as we breathe in. Maybe the gaze goes up, but if I have a headache, I might keep my gaze down. And then I'm going to exhale, bringing my chin to my chest, tucking the pelvis forward. And I'll breathe in again, sending the heart space forward. And then we exhale, chin to chest. And breathe in. And exhale. Ooh, really get into those hips. Yeah, that's great. Excellent. Come back to center, stacking that head, the heart, and the pelvis again. Excellent job. Now we're going to come to all fours. So we're going to spread thy fingers, and we might bring our little cushion that we have here, whether it's a blanket, a cushion, a pillow, etc. We might pat the knees, just giving our knees a little bit of love here. If the surface I am practicing on is hurting my knees, or if I have fussy knees. So we're going to take good care of ourselves here, and we're going to do that. If I would rather have the cushion for my hands, I can totally do that too. I can always bring another blanket or pillow into the mix as well. And from here, we're going to come up just on the knees just slightly, just to bring the hands down from us. So we're going to come to an all fours position. So I'm going to come to my fists, actually, instead of spreading my fingers. But if you're going to do palms, I really encourage you to spread the fingers as wide as possible and really push into those hands. If you're coming to the fists, kind of the same idea, right? We're still pushing into our foundation. We're still looping the shoulders back and away from the ears. We're still lengthening through the tailbone and getting a nice straight back, as straight as we can get it there. And we're still going to honor the natural curvature of the spine. And then we're going to bring the neck nice and long, as it's also an extension of the spine, and we're going to look just down. We're going to breathe in, and then exhale. From here, we're going to bring the two toes to touch, two big toes to touch, and we're going to send the knees as wide as the mat, kind of making that V shape that we're seeing the geese make right now as they get ready to migrate And then we're going to send the sits bones back towards the heels. We're going to keep the heart lifted for just a breath or two. We'll keep the heart nice and lifted, really looking up, or the gaze is down. Again, if I have a headache, I might prefer that. Or I can send the gaze up between the third eye, the brows there, the third eye, and I breathe in. And then maybe I fold forward, exhaling as I do so, bringing my forehead to the mat. Or if I wish, I could always grab a pillow or a blanket, or I can even make a little pillow with my forearms here. As I allow myself to get nice and heavy here, feeling the back body stretch with each breath in, and feeling the back body relax and soften with each exhale. And if I prefer to have a full child's pose, Balasana, bringing the knees together, I can totally do that too. If extended child's pose is not your jam, you can do this. And if either are not your jam, then you can totally come back to that seated position that we were in before and just breathe and notice stacking that head over the heart over pelvis, and lifting up through the waistline. So you're either in your seated position or you're coming to your version of child's pose. So the legs together or the legs wide, or we're in our nice comfortable seated choice. And here we go, we breathe and we notice and we breathe. Just allowing the back body a chance to relax here, taking any pressure out of the sacrum and the coccyx, the low back. Allowing the shoulders to run forward just slightly. And I can even bring the hands together, walking the elbows out and send the hands behind the head. If I would like a nice stretch in the back, in the triceps there. Alright, getting nice and relaxed here. Take 2 more deep breaths in. And to unravel, we'll bring the hands back down if they're above the head. Otherwise, we'll just push into the hands. And if the hands are behind us because we're in Balasana, then we'll bring them forward. We'll push into the hands. We'll rise the heart space back up, coming back to that tabletop position. Now we're going to bring the 2 toes to touch if they're not already, and we're going to send the knees wide. From here, we're going to thread the needle. So we're going to start by just pushing into our foundation here, looping the shoulders around. The neck is nice and long. We're going to take that left arm and we're going to send it underneath the right. And from here, we're going to really push into that right hand. And then we're going to push into the tops of the feet. We're going to push into that hand that is on the mat there. And we're going to breathe again. So always bringing the breath. Foundation, alignment, then breath. So fabulous. Excellent. One more breath here, one more breath cycle in and out. And on your exhale, push into that hand there, the right hand, and you come back up. Come back to your version of tabletop. And then we're going to send the right hand underneath. And I'm just going to do a little bit of maneuvering here. Modifying is liberation, not necessarily correction or that I'm doing it wrong. But I'm finding that liberation or that liberty within modifying. So I'm not being harsh on myself. In fact, I'm being loving and tender towards myself. Getting frustrated isn't going to serve me. So if that happens, I'm going to just acknowledge it and send it on its way in search of that sukha, that ease. So pushing into our foundation, cut the tops of the feet, the hand that is raised, so our left hand here, we'll breathe in. And on an exhale, we'll come back to our version of tabletop. We will bring the knees together and just walk them up just a little bit towards the wrists. From here, we're either going to untuck the toes and come to sit back on the feet. But if that's too much in my feet, then I will just uncurl the feet there. And I'm still pushing into the tops of my feet. I'm still rising up through the waistline there, through the pelvic floor. Should be able to stick a nice piece of paper underneath the bum and the feet there. And I'm lifting up through the heart space, so my feet are tucked, really pushing into all 10 toes. That pinky's included there, all toes matter. And we'll lift the heart space up, loop the shoulders around, and still we're lifting up through that mula bandha, that pelvic floor, and we are going to be able to put a piece of paper between the bum and the feet. Both versions are great. Hero posture here. I'm feeling a release in my lumbar spine with this one here. And this is really great to get the juices flowing and to really notice the breath. All right, we're going to come back to that tabletop position just to swing the legs around any which way. And we can bring our prop, we can adjust it so it is underneath of us again. So we're going to come back to the width-wise of our mat. So on our mat width-wise, and we're going to send the legs out wide, coming to a seated wide-legged position. From here, we're going to push into the heels. We're going to allow the toes to go up. And here we are, still pushing into the sits bones, still rising up through the pelvic floor, still lifting the heart space and still dropping those shoulders back. All right, great job. We're gonna breathe in, nice full conscious breath here. And as we exhale, we'll bring the fingertips just in front of us, looping those shoulders back and away. And then maybe we begin to walk the hands out. And maybe we keep the heart lifted here. Nice, generous stretch in the neck, in the front body, in the sits bones. Nice for the hamstrings, the feet, full body experience from tail to toe and toe to crown. And then I might even allow myself to come forward here, setting the crown forward, the nose towards the navel. And then we begin to rock back and forth. So I'm going to lift it and I can bring the head down and allow my neck to get a nice generous stretch here. Or I fold forward. Same idea. I noticed that my toes were curling in, so we want to try and keep them up and down as much as possible. So not too far back, not too far forward. And it's not about perfecting it, it's about noticing it, having that conversation with ourselves, right? So I'm not necessarily trying to get to the very end point, but I'm listening to my body. I'm scanning from toe to crown and crown to toe, and I'm having this conversation. Listening to the breath, listening to the body, an ultimate act of self-love. At least in my opinion. And from here, we're going to walk up on the hands. Breathe in to lift up through the heart space again. Loop the shoulders around. And then we'll walk ourselves back up. And this time, we're going to bring the left heel in. And we're going to keep the right heel out. So we're going to push into that heel. Try to keep the toes flexed. And then from here, we're going to push into the sits bones. And I might just move my prop just slightly, just so that I can square my hips towards my heel. And I do not need the prop if that's not serving me, right? So take what serves you and leave what does not. So here we go. We will bend that knee ever so slightly. And we don't have to force anything here, right? We don't have to lengthen through that leg. Even if we can, we might not be loving that today. So just because I could one day doesn't mean I can today. But anyway, we'll allow our knee to come nice and bent as much as we need to, and we'll lift the fingertips behind the ears. We'll breathe in, up and out of the waistline, and we'll think up and over as we send our fingertips towards where they shall fall. And from here, we're going to allow the head to get nice and heavy, coming to Janu Sirsasana, or head to knee pose, which is called traditionally, but think of it more as head towards knee pose. And I can be here, I can be here, or I can fold all the way forward. But listening to the body, being very mindful. Getting a nice generous stretch in the hip and the hamstring. Yeah.
letting go any sound that comes naturally. Breathe in. And as you exhale, really tuck the chin, really push into the sit bones, and we're gonna blossom up. Nice and tall. Excellent. Just as we did before, we're gonna give a little twist. We're gonna send the fingertips behind the ears, lift up. And then we're gonna twist towards the left side, lifting up through the heart space. And allowing our exhale to twist us. Not forcing or pushing, but noticing and nurturing. Strengthening and lengthening. Excellent job. From here, we're going to come back through center. And we're going to bring, well, actually, I'm going to adjust my little prop here. Come back. And then I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together. Coming into a cobbler's pose, bound angle, butterfly, whatever you shall call it. And it's okay if the knees are up here. You're not alone, no worries. I just have naturally open hips, which can actually be a disservice to me at times because I can overextend my hips. So just even if you can get them all the way down, do you need to? And so listening to the body. And not to say that you are forcing or anything like that, just food for thought. So here we go. We can lift up and out of the chest, dropping the shoulders back. We can lift up and lengthen. And if you are familiar with butterfly, I do encourage you to keep the legs still as opposed to fluttering the hips because we have lots of ligaments in those hip joints and we just don't want to ever accidentally do any damage there. So be very mindful if you are going to pulse. Otherwise, we come to stillness, lifting the heart space, dropping the shoulders back. I notice mine were starting to creep forward, so we're going to try and keep those facing back. Heart space is lifted and we breathe. And we can tuck the chin ever so slightly, getting a nice generous stretch in the back of the neck. And on your exhale, send the left leg out, bring the right heel in, and then we'll square our hips towards the left heel this time, adjusting as we need to, having that conversation with ourselves. Pushing into the left heel, we'll bring the hands behind, and if this knee is up, no worries, just try your best, right? Try to get that thigh nice and heavy, and I'm actually noticing right now as I'm saying this, that each side is quite different for me today too, that this side was all the way down, this side's slightly raised, and that's okay. And if I'm finding I need a little bit of support here, I can always put a pillow underneath that leg or move my blanket to make that better for myself. So anyway, here we go. We're gonna send the hands behind the ears. We're gonna lift up and breathe. And then we're gonna send our fingertips towards our foot. Ooh, I'm noticing a nice generous stretch in my shoulders here. My body's saying hallelujah. As I send my nose towards my knee in this Janu Sirsasana variation. And we breathe and we notice and we notice and we breathe. And we allow our back body to stretch with each inhale. And allow it to soften with each exhale, getting a nice generous stretch in the hip, the hamstring, and the neck, even the thoracic spine. Nice and mindful, listening to the body and trying not to judge. And if you find yourself having negative thoughts towards yourself, question them. No need to get upset at yourself for it, but just question it, acknowledge it, and move on. Alright, and then from here we're exhale, bringing the chin to the chest, push into the sit bones, and we'll rise back up, nice and beautiful. We'll send the fingertips behind the ears, and we will twist towards the right, bringing the left hand to the right thigh. We'll send the right hand behind. We'll lift and we'll lengthen as we breathe in, nice and tall. And we'll exhale, belly button to spine, nose over shoulder. Breathe in. And then we'll come back to square. We will fix our prop here. If we had one, and we'll come back through center. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet back together for that cobbler's pose or down angle. And we will, or Baddha Konasana, super fun to say. Alright, so we can either grab the toes or the ankles, just as we did before. We're gonna lift up through the heart space, drop on the shoulders, and we're either gonna keep the elbows in and fold forward, or we'll send the elbows out and fold forward. Being very mindful, listening to the body, finding what feels good, never forcing or pushing. And I'm never stuck in any way I've chosen. So I went with elbows out, and I noticed I didn't really like how that felt. So I'm gonna back up, listening to the body. And again, never stuck. We can always find an adjustment. There's always freedom within the form. And it's just so loving to have that conversation with ourselves. And a little bit goes a long way. It's like a drop in the bucket, right? That ripple effect. And then from here, we'll really tuck the chin, we'll rise back up, and then we are going to turn to the side of our mat. And we're gonna come to Dandasana, excuse me. Got a little tongue tied there. As I'm getting nice and relaxed. We'll send the legs out nice and long, and just as we did in Janu Sursasana, we're gonna bend the knees as generously as we need to. There's no need to force. And if this prop isn't serving me anymore behind me, I might roll up my prop or grab another and send it behind the knees for a little support. Oh yeah, that's it. That's where the money's at. So I might push the flush of the sits bones aside. As I push into my sits bones, and I'll rise up through the midline. So really bringing that belly button to spine again, lengthening up through the mid body, and the heart space shines forward. We drop the shoulders. Maybe we bring the hands to our sides, and it is nice and placed on our lap. We're gonna tuck that chin slightly, just as we did before, and we breathe. And if you're shaking, you're not alone. This looks so simple, but really, it is a really powerful posture, this Dandasana or staff or stick pose. Really engaging all the muscles just to sit up tall here. Excellent. And just as we did before with the leg bent, we're going to do it both legs straight. We're going to send the fingertips behind the ears, breathe in to come up, and allow the hands to land where they shall. I can bend my knees as generously as I need to, or if I can straighten them, I might wish to do so, listening to the body. And just because I could yesterday doesn't mean I can today, and just because I might tomorrow doesn't mean I can today. Just noticing where we are today and enjoying that. And this might be a good conversation to have with your body, to know what you should do with your body every day, right? Like sometimes we force ourselves to do things that maybe aren't serving us so well. So showing up to the mat or just even tapping into the breath might allow me to know what my body needs in that moment to be taken care of. So if I'm noticing on the mat that my low back is fussy today, maybe I don't lift the couch and clean underneath of it, for example. Or if I'm noticing that my heart is heavy today, maybe I have a book in bed day. Maybe I do something kind for somebody else to help lift my heart. There's so many possibilities, and it's just tapping into thyself, tapping into that conversation, loving myself. Breathing in, feeling the back body stretch with each inhale, and then exhale, allowing the back body to relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Excellent job. Tuck the chin ever so slightly, and we'll push into the sits bones and roll back up. Excellent job. I just felt all that energy just release from my back, and it felt so great. All right, so we can bring this for our head if we wish. Just placing it underneath the head because we're going to our backs. Yay, we're gonna take a rest here. So we're gonna walk our sits bones down to our heels. Just so that we may just Turn the hips one way and then the other. That's always pretty yummy to do. Find your way to your flat back position. You can bring your blanket as a pillow or get a real pillow if you wish. And right before we get too comfortable there, we're gonna hug the knees into the chest. Ooh, you might hear some sounds come from my spine here. So I broke my tailbone as a child. So this pose here really allows my spine to do what it needs to do, to be able to be functional, believe it or not. And there's things that I never thought I would be able to do anymore that yoga has opened those possibilities for me again. So, oh, there it goes. Woo. And then I like to rotate my ankles one way and then the other. You may not. Finding what feels good in your body. Maybe you like to rock back and forth. Getting a nice massage on the back there. Lengthening the tailbone down towards the edge of your mat. Finding that natural curvature of the spine. And from here we might breathe in. And then exhale, sending the soles of the feet back down to the mat. And we're gonna bring the heels in line with the hips. So right in front of the glutes there, and then bring the heels up to closer to the glutes as much as you can. And then we're gonna just lift the hips just slightly, just to make sure that low back is nice and flush with the mat. So this is gonna protect that low back. So we're gonna bring that belly button down and in, almost as if we're trying to push our belly button towards our mat. We're gonna bring our hands to the sides, to our sides here. Really pushing into our hands, really pushing into our feet. We have two mountains with our legs here. We're trying to keep the mountains from collapsing. We don't want the mountains to come together. There's a village in between, and we don't want to crush the village. So keep the village alive. So we're not bringing the knees in, and we're not sending the knees out. We're gonna keep those mountains in a line. Here we go. So here we go. Push into the feet, push into the hands, push into the back of the head, and maybe walk the shoulder blades down just a little bit. So our low back is nice and flush, the shoulders are down and away from the ears. We're pushing into the hands, we're pushing into the feet, and here we go. We're gonna breathe in to start, then exhale, and this time as you breathe in, lift your tailbone up and off the mat, lifting one vertebrae at a time, coming into a bridge posture. And we send the sits bones towards the heels, lifting up, pushing into all four corners of the feet. Maybe we walk our shoulders down a little bit more, breathe in. We send our chest to the chin and chin to the sky. And we breathe in. And then we maybe separate the shoulders and allow each vertebrae to return to the mat one at a time. Noticing and nurturing, nurturing and noticing. Ooh, and allow the coccyx to go back to its natural position there. All right, we're gonna do that one more time, all right? Finding our foundation first. So feet next to the glutes. We're not gonna allow our mountains to collapse. Either way, nice and straight and sturdy. We're pushing into our hands, we're pushing into the back of the head there, and then we're going to allow the sits bones to rise up with our inhale. And we let the spine release from the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Maybe we walk the shoulder blades down. We lift the chest up towards the chin and then the chin towards the ceiling. We look up. And we exhale, allowing the shoulder blades to separate. Releasing one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. Through the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine. See how slow you can go. Excellent job. All right, from here, we're gonna walk the feet together and allow the legs to go nice and wide, just as we did sitting. So this is Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined cobbler's pose, or butterfly pose, whatever you shall call it, bound angle, many names for it. And we're pushing the feet together as much as possible. We're allowing the legs to get nice and heavy. If I'm noticing any fussiness in the hips or in the thighs, I might bring pillows underneath the knees here. And from here, we're just gonna walk the shoulder blades down. Maybe we adjust our pillow. Walk the shoulder blades down. We can bring the hands just to the belly. We'll allow our neck to get nice and long as we slightly tuck the chin into the chest. And we breathe, really feeling our belly rise with each inhale, feeling our hands rise with it. And feel them fall as you exhale, nice and slow. Breathe in and exhale, nice and slow. Breathe in. Allowing yourself to just surrender here. The mat rises up to meet the back body. And you just let everything go. You can bring the hands to the outside of the thighs here and just guide them back together. Excellent job. We're going to hug the knees back into the chest. Breathe in. And as you exhale, send your arms out into like a T here. Or you can then bring the knees to one side. Maybe send the gaze to the opposite side. Bring the knees back into chest. And recline twist to the left. Here we go. Maybe we look towards the right hand this time. Breathe the knees into the chest. Send the knees back towards the right side. Gaze towards the left. Gaze towards the left. And then I bring my knees back into the chest. Give them a nice big hug. And then send the feet back down to the mat. We can walk the feet as wide as the mat and then bring the knees in to get to kiss ever so slightly. You can lift the low back just to lower it back down, trying to get it nice and flush with the mat there. Nice and cozy, nice and protected, nice and supported. Now we can bring the hands to the belly, or we can bring the left hand to the heart, the right hand on the belly. The choice is yours. Feel your hands rise with each inhale. And soften with each exhale. Taking full, deep, conscious breath here. Allowing all of today's practice to soak in. And if your mind begins to wander, just remind yourself to be. Keeping the knees bent, we're going to start a 4-part breath here. So you might have done square breathing before. It's very similar to that. So the concept is we're going to breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Allow your breath to return to its natural ebb and flow, natural state. And then maybe we send one leg out and then the other. Coming to Shavasana, corpse pose. Maybe you kick the book set below you, and maybe you kick your timer over. Oh, just me? Okay. And then we allow the feet to get nice and loose here. We can keep the hands on the belly, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, or we could bring the hands to our side, palms up or palms down. You shall choose your journey. And once you find where you'd like to be, just allow yourself to do absolutely nothing. Just let everything relax and melt into the mat, into the floor, into nature's ground, the earth. And just breathe. You don't have to do anything fancy here. Just notice. Bring your awareness to the bottoms of your feet and pretend there's a nice, warm, beautiful light of the color of your choice at the soles of those feet. You don't have to do anything or force anything, just notice and feel. Allow that awareness to rise up towards the ankles, noticing anything here. Allow that to rise up to the shins, the calves, the low part of the leg. Allow this awareness to rise towards the knees, the fronts, the backs, the sides. Continue this awareness up through the meaty part of the legs, the thighs, the hamstrings, the glutes, the inner thighs. Allow this awareness to rise towards the pelvic bone, the hips, the reproductive area. Allow this awareness to come up into the abdomen, the coccyx, the sacrum, the lumbar spine, the abdominals, the digestive system, allow this awareness to rise towards the floating ribs, the diaphragm, the rib cage, the sternum, the thoracic spine, the heart space. Allow this awareness to come to the shoulders and down the biceps, down the it's working. The triceps rather. And the elbows, the forearms, the hands, the fingers. Bring this awareness back to the shoulders and up through the neck, the back, the neck, the throat, to the jaw, the mouth, the teeth, the tongue, the lips. The cheeks, the nose, the eyes, the furrowing of the brow, all the way to the crown. Allow this awareness to go beyond the physical body into the subtle emotional body, off into the universe. Like I said before, it's like a ripple effect. When we take these moments to be aware, self-aware, then we then take this into our day-to-day life and send this same awareness to those we interact with, right? Our loved ones. other animals, nature, taking time to be kind to yourself. Turns out to take a moment to be kind to others as well. That ripple effect. Stay here as long as time allows. Come back to the thoughts of here and now. Placing the to-do list on hold. Allowing yourself to do absolutely nothing for just a mere second more. And if you're able to stay here, kudos and jealous. And maybe, if not, we begin to wiggle the toes. Move the tongue around in the mouth. Maybe begin to rock the head from one side and the other. Get the fingers moving. Maybe I rise my hands up and towards the back of my mat, getting a full body stretch, pushing into the hands and the feet, pushing into the glutes. Sometimes the hips like to release from this here, and we scrunch up the face, we wake up the body in the most loving way, getting one final massage from the ground on our backs here. And then maybe we bend one knee and then the other, bringing the hands back down. Maybe we roll to one side, any side. We come to lay in a fetal position. We breathe. Feel more conscious breaths here. We push up, off the mat, rising back to our Sukhasana. Maybe you let your hair down like I did. Just let it all go. You can bring your prop back underneath the hips, or you can just sit up nice and tall. Nice gentle gaze here as we bring the hands to the knees. We breathe the shoulders up to the ears. Breathe in. Loop them down and around. And bring the hands to the heart space. We lift the heart space to the thumbs, and we bow our head to our hands. The intelligent body to the physical body, to the heart space. May the rest of your day be filled with sukha, with ease. And on that note, let's take a final breath together. Exhale, bowing the head just a little bit more. The light in me honors and recognizes the light in you. Breathe in again together. And as we exhale together, maybe we say namaste. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Take good care.